Can Israel make peace with Hamas? I want you to check out this little debate between Cenk Uygur and Mosab Hassan Yousef, the so-called son of Hamas, as they go very head-to-head on this particular issue. Check this out.
So when you look at the idea from a different perspective and you say, well, okay, some things are so evil and terrible, and Hamas is, that you can't possibly negotiate with it. Well, under that same rubric and logic, you could certainly argue that you shouldn't negotiate with Israel. They've killed 35 times the number of civilians that Hamas did in this conflict. Imagine if Hamas had killed 35 times the number of civilians Israel did. So that would be a giant number. What are we talking about? Nearly 1 million people if you took the 40,000 people that Israel has killed in Gaza and multiplied it by 35. And you could say, oh my God, Israel, I can't believe how awful they are. And their civilian casualty rates are as bad as Hamas's. Hamas on October 7th was terrible. I condemn it 100%. My heart breaks for every civilian who's killed. I'm the one guy who's consistent on this. I don't want any Israelis killed. I don't want any Palestinians killed. And so as terrible as that Hamas attack was, well, their kill ratio was 71%. They killed 815 civilians and 1,139 people overall. They killed a lot of soldiers as well. Now, none of that excuses any of their actions. But when you look at Israel's kill ratio, if you assume that every man in Palestine that they killed is a terrorist, which is an absurd, unconscionable assumption, Israel still had a civilian kill ratio of 60%. So when you include the innocent men, that's going to be a higher kill ratio of civilians as a percentage than Hamas. So under this logic, the Palestinians should say Israel is so evil that we cannot negotiate with them. All right, now we're at a standstill. Nobody's negotiating with anyone. This is absurd. This is not how you get to peace negotiations. And can peace negotiations work? Of course. You know who's it's worked for before? Israel, when they negotiated with Egypt. And at the time, the hardliners, just like today, said, oh, you can never trust Israel. Israel led the invasion of Israel. Egypt led the invasion of Israel twice. They were the leader of the Arab nations. They want to kill us. They're so anti-Semitic. They want to kill all the Jews. You can't negotiate with the Egyptians. They'll never follow through on any of their agreements. Well, it's been decades and decades, and they totally followed through. There was no bombing afterwards. Peace worked. It's actually very elementary. You make peace with your enemies and then see if it holds. That is what has been done every single time. It's absurd to think otherwise.
Well, absolutely not. Why? Because Hamas is not a political movement. Hamas is an ideological movement that wants to destroy Israel to build an Islamic state. And they don't stop there. Their political ambition, their religious ambition is beyond the river and the sea. They want a global khilafah. So how can you satisfy such ambition? The situation with Egypt, with Jordan was completely different. Israel has no problem negotiating and making peace with the Arab world. Since its establishment, Israel extended its hand to make peace with the Arab world, but the Arab world rejected. Then the foundation of the Palestinian narrative is sitting on air because, first of all, there was no such thing as Palestine. If you look at Palestine, it's only an ideology, a very violent ideology. And it took the PLO 40 years to try to destroy the state of Israel since 1948 until the early 90s, trying to destroy the state of Israel. Then they learned the lesson that violence was a dead end. And this is when Yasser Arafat came to negotiations, and Israel had no problem negotiating with Yasser Arafat. But what happened later? We had a new generation of Palestinians, Islamists this time, not the nationalists. And that's Hamas. And now they brought us back to square number one. And even Yasser Arafat and the other Palestinian first generation told Hamas, will it take you 40 years to realize that we're going nowhere? We cannot destroy Israel? And Hamas has been trying for the past 36 years, repeating the same mistakes of the PLO and Yasser Arafat. And Israel is caught up in this situation. Tomorrow we will have the communists coming. Then after that we will have more globalists, and could be any other foreign entity using the Palestinian cause as a device to just keep trying to destroy the only Jewish state on earth. So bottom line, Israel has no problem negotiating with Arabs, making peace with Arabs. Arabs are an ethnic group, and we have no problem. There are 2 million Arabs living in Israel. They are equal citizens, and they can get along with the Jewish people. But the problem that we're having, that Israel cannot coexist with destructive ideologies such as Palestine and Hamas, because those ideologies are black holes, and nobody can satisfy their ambitions.
Mosab is absolutely right. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.